populate. Many of them were even enemies and warring at the time. Smushed them all together and drew these arbitrary lines around them and called them countries and named those countries.
Right.
And then said, now y'all get along and do a country for us and be a union for us. And then go through, contentious, bloody independence processes that never really yielded any real independence. You're still part of a commonwealth afterwards. True. And you have the eternal meddling in your affairs and the eternal extraction of your resources. And the eternal fomenting of divisiveness and infighting in order to be able to control you. This is what an oppressor does, a colonizer does. These are tactics and strategies of dominance.
Right.
We were subjected to that as a larger unit of Nigeria. And then when the Igbo people said, we want our own thing, let's go and do that. Well, it so happened to be that the territory that this new country of Biafra was going to be in included very, very rich oil reserves. And the British were not going to let go of that.
Wow.
And the people that they had put in power, their puppet Nigerian governments weren't going to do that either because they needed it for the Nigerian project.
Right.
And Britain needed it for its own interests and uses. So Great Britain got directly involved in this civil war and in the war for independence and decided that they would do everything to make sure that Biafra did not go.
Wow.
And this everything meant directly funding genocide of the people of Biafra. They wanted to be separate from...
But our historic memory includes the notion that your greatest days were under Ivan, Peter the Great, and Catherine the Great. In other words, when you could control your neighbors. And people don't want to be controlled anymore. They want to be free to chart their own course. I'll never forget the first time a man with impeccable military credentials, the warden of Rhodes House, who was Viscount Montgomery's aide to camp in World War II, said, you're going to have to leave Vietnam. For the same reason we had to leave Nigeria. We left Nigeria, there was a horrible war, 3 million people died. But we had to go, and you're going to have to go. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. People want to chart their own course. They have to feel secure in their own identity.
Family wa gbogbo àwọn tó ń bẹ lókè òkun ò lè wálé ẹ̀rù ń bá àwọn fọmọ jí wọn gbé gbogbo ẹsẹ̀ ọ̀nà èkó bí káàkiri ọ̀nà ìlú èkìtì káàkiri wọlé Yorùbá Fúlàní jí wa gbọ́n.
ọmọ Ìbàràpá lápapọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ àdúgbò lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀jẹ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá lápapọ̀ ilé tó kó ẹ̀mí àpọ̀ ẹ̀bá ń kọ́mọ Adéyẹmọ Sunday Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho orúkọ ńlá tí ń jámọ̀ láyà kí ara orúkọ tó ń dẹ̀rù bó lórúkọ gan-an ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ má sọ torí pé wòrà a kò lè fojú dé gbogbo láyé títa ríro lẹ̀dá kọlà wúrà tó máa dán àlà tó kọjá dandan ọ̀wọ́n ẹ̀ má bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọ̀nà ẹ̀dá kan lè ṣì wà lọ́nà mọ́ ẹgbẹ́ àtìmọ̀ṣọ́ kan ká lè débi ire ẹ̀jẹ̀ àjọgbárùkù tí Sunday Ìgbòho ṣá ọmọ Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ nínú alágbàdo òde ọmọ atapẹ̀tẹ̀ wọnú omi ọmọ dòdòdò wodò sọ̀yà ìsọ̀yà òrẹ́ràn bàbá yín láàrin yìí omi kò sí náà tán sí yín lẹ́nu ọmọ òkúta mẹ́ta òkè Ìgbòho ìkan ṣe yí dábọ̀dàbọ̀ ìkan ní mọ́ rọra ìkan tó kù nígbà tí wọ́n mọ̀ Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ kí ló dé Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ sí ọmọ òkòkò sọ́ràn ìgbàgede Ìgbòho sùn wọn láláìsí bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọn ní kó ní bẹ̀rẹ̀ ó máa kó bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ ẹ̀sìn òní bímọ méjì ní Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ lọ́sìn bá bímọ méjì ní Ìgbòho áfíkan pọ̀pọ̀ sí amúkan yòókù bọ̀ sọ̀yà àtúmúyà rẹ̀ tí ò lọ́rọ̀ gbọ́ àfisẹ̀rù wáyé wàrà mùdí ọmọ onílé ọ̀la àwọn àjòjì tó ń ṣe ṣèṣèṣe tọ́láwọn oníbomi kó sínú wọn láwọn oníbomi sọ̀yà wẹ́sẹ̀ ìgbà lórúkọ lórí kọ́ gbogbo wọn náà sáré bomi kó sínú wọ́n sì bomi sọ̀yà wẹ́sẹ̀ ọmọ abẹ́rẹ́ mẹ́ta òbí ayé ọ̀kan ṣẹ́ ọ̀kan tẹ̀ ọ̀kan tó kù ní gbogbo ayé tí wọ́n sọ kiri gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá Sunday Ìgbòho onílẹ̀ láéláé torí àgbàlá sọ́ni kan dá òkúta òṣèlú fún wọn o ìmọ̀ràn lásán ni ti balùwẹ̀ òkọ́ sì fi gbódòdò láyé ní ó kù díẹ̀ tí tọ́ domi láéláé ìtọ́ nílé lè domi Sunday Igboho arógun mákìdí tó ń jà fẹ́tọ̀ Yorùbá ní tilé tó kó. Ọmọ Ìbàràpá lápapọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ àdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀dí ọmọ Yorùbá lápapọ̀ tilé tó kó ẹ̀mí àbọ̀ ẹ̀bá nǹkan wọn Adéyẹmọ. Kí Sunday Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho orúkọ ńlá tí ń jámọ̀ láyà bí àrá orúkọ tó ń dẹ̀rù bo lórúkọ gan. Ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ má sùn o torí pé gbòòrà a kò lè fojú pé gbòdò láyé títa ríro lẹ̀dá kọlà wúrà tó máa dán àlànà kọjá dandan o. Ọ̀wọ́n ẹni ní má bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọ̀nà ẹ̀dá kan lè ṣí wà lọ́nà mọ́ ẹjẹ́ àtìmọ̀ṣọ̀ kan ká lè débi re. Ẹ̀já jọ gbárùkù ti Sunday Ìgbòho ṣá ọmọ Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ nílùú Alágbàdo Òde ọmọ atapẹ̀tẹ̀wọ̀ lómi ọmọ bèbè wodò sànyà ìsànyà òrẹ́ràn bàbá yín láàrin ìdí omi kò sí náà ń kán sí yín lẹ́nu ọmọ òkúta mẹ́ta òkè Ìgbòho ìkan ṣe yín dákọ̀dàbọ̀ ìkan ní mọ́ rẹ́ra ìkan tó kù nígbà tí wọ́n mọ̀ Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ kí ló dé Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ sí ọmọ òpópó sánrán ìgbàgede Ìgbòho sùn wọn láláìsí bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọn ní kó ní bẹ̀rẹ̀ ó máa kó bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ ẹ̀sìn òní bímọ méjì ní Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ bẹ́sìn bá bímọ méjì ní Ìgbòho á fi kan pọpọ sí amúkan yòókù bọ̀ sànyà àtúmúyà rẹ̀ tí ò lọ́rọ̀ gbọ́ á fi ṣẹrú wálé wàrà mùdí ọmọ onílé ọ̀la àwọn.
In Tripoli is one of the stories making the round. At least 5 killed in Al-Shabaab bomb attack in Mogadishu. It's one of the stories making the rounds on the African continent as well. Eswatini activist Tulani Moseko shot dead at his home. The 52-year-old killing came hours after a speech of defiance by King against opponents of his absolute rule, allegedly saying they should. I'll be telling you more about that in next moment, so you don't miss out on it. Domestic debt exchange. Over 7.5 million insurance policies to be affected. That's what the CIIJ is saying. And then, how can I go up without fighting the demons, Reverend Kuti Boateng? So if somebody criticizes the president demon, or if it's a constructive criticism, do you call the president demon a satani? I remember when we were later, myself and my brother, that's the term that we use, you know, so that people will not know what we are talking about. We call it Monzui and the satani. Well, the contractor abandoned work after taking 4.5 million Ghana cedis for COVID-19 treatment center in Nalerigu. That's what the Auditor General is saying. Well, the Auditor General's report is quite a mouthful and a gobsmacking. The Cocoa Board. Banks have no right to debit account without a consent of account holders. That's what a lawyer is saying. And Paramount Chief received 450,000 out of an unaccounted 605,000 funds. That's what Auditor General is saying. That is all pertaining to the COVID fund. That was given by the World Bank. So what does that mean? How did government actually say that they use that money in that particular way? But well, you want to know more, stay tuned and don't you go away. Let's enjoy this tune and then I will come back to you. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. This is from Akosua Owusua, and it says the impossible you do. God does the impossible, and you should be determined to do the impossible as well. Stay tuned. Don't you go away. We'll bring in Mr. Olayomi Koiki in the next few moments. So stay tuned. Don't you touch the dial.
Mo kí gbogbo wa pé ẹ káàárọ̀ a kú ọ̀rọ̀ èèyàn ìyá wa tó kú lánàá Ìyélúfẹ̀ Ọlọ́run ọba lọ́jọ́ ìní kó bá tẹ́ wọn sáfẹ́fẹ́ rere àwa tó fi sílẹ̀ náà ká parí ìrìn àjò tí a gbé dání Ọlọ́run á bá ń dúró ti àwọn ọmọ wọn á dúró ti mọ̀lẹ́bí wọn àníri ní ajẹ́kọ́jọ́ jìnnà síra. Mo kí gbogbo wa, so we're just gonna be joining Star Radio as you know. It's the Monday morning. Ibi táwa ti ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ wòtòwòtò fún Nàìjíríà. A lot of people do not even understand the power of what the media does in Nigeria. Mo ń gbọ́ Simon Ekpa láàárọ̀ dà ń pé tó ṣe ní last year. And you could tell that the government becomes very scared because government does not like the way we're exposing them all the time. So, man, big government in it. But ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ more power media. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ because I can joke sórí social media. Bí àwọn ọ̀pọ̀ bọ́lẹ̀ kájà media ni. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé nǹkan tá à ń sọ government ò like it. The government always looking for every opportunity láti counter gbogbo nǹkan sọ because in terms of I expose the government and government doesn't like that, especially a tyrant government in Nigeria. Nigerian government is a tyrant government. So if you put Buhari nísìn lẹ́gbẹ́ wọlé 8 years nísìn ẹ̀wọ̀n tó fojú yín rí ó ti bà economy jẹ́ whether dead or alive òun ló ń tiẹ̀ àwọn tó lọ gbé Buhari wá náà tún ń padà bọ̀ náà àwọn fẹ́ wá fix Nàìjíríà tó ṣe fix but ẹ mọ̀ pé àwọn Yorùbá ẹ máa ní agbọ́n ni wọ́n ní àjẹ́ pọ́mọ Yorùbá náà lọ́bẹ̀ but irọ́ ni gbogbo ẹ bá dé. Nàìjíríà pásù kan tí a ti gbà nulẹ̀ láàárọ̀ yìí wọ́n ti wá kọ̀lẹ́tì pásù kan tí ọmọ Oòduà ni wọ́n máa kọ̀lẹ́tì nǹkan ló tún gbé wá nísìn èmi gbogbo alárí post office ní Ìkòyí ordinary post office system kò ṣiṣẹ́ Nàìjíríà tó bá dẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ chata àwọn òmùgọ̀ ẹ mọ etí post office ń generate ní yáyàyáyàyá ibi tí mo lọ set up ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn sáré ìgbàgbé pé ilé la máa fi stream láàárọ̀ iṣẹ́ tí post office ń ṣe nílùú yìí òun ló lọ lọ́nkàn yẹn owó tó ń generate òun ló lọ lọ́nkàn yẹn so much money the post office máa ń generate but abá sọ shut up and come back home nígbà tó yẹ pé inú Nàìjíríà ni mò ń gbé láti 24 years bí ẹ mọ̀ pé ìta ni mò ń gbé so Ọlọ́run tó dẹ̀ ní kémi gbé níta ohun bẹ́ẹ̀ ni privilege ni tí wọn náà bá ti lọ gbé níta kò máa sọ pé Nàìjíríà dá ẹ wo train tí Buhari tọ́nà ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ẹ wo train yẹn ó ṣe tí ìwọ ọ̀tàn má dá mi dúró láàárọ̀ àti ní one day máa ń dá wọn dúró lójoojúmọ́ ní sílẹ̀ ẹ wo train tọ́nà ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ta ló ti rí méjì train yẹn ẹ wo bó ṣe train China second hand tó lọ rà tọkọ paint tó yẹ pé wọ́n kọ̀ paint ẹ̀ ni but àwọn tó wà ń lé irọ́ lẹ like àwa tá à ń sọ òótọ́ mo ń rí bọ́ ẹlẹ́dẹ̀ TVC tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Nnamdi Kanu láàárọ̀ ẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ ń yọ ilé kúrò because mo nílé akọ̀lẹ̀ fi sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ó kọ̀ wá ń bẹ̀ ní small image ó kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí o ìyẹn Bọ́lá àbí kí ló ń jẹ́ Òtítọ́jú or whatever his name is tó ń sọ nonsense nípa àwọn Biafra. But Nigerians love lies anyway, so irọ́ lẹ like àwa tá à ń sọ òtítọ́. Àwọn tó máa parọ́ fún yín, àwọn tó máa sọ fún yín pé but àwa tá à ń sọ òtítọ́, àwa yẹn lẹ máa mú lọ́tà. I just pity a lot of people at home. Alone. But they understand because what if ìyà ti ṣẹ́, ó ti wà nulẹ̀. So tàbá sọ ẹ̀ẹ̀kan ní ká shut up. And come back home. O lè jókòó sí London o. Ọmọ pé Nàìjíríà ò ṣiṣẹ́ o. Ọmọ náà mi ò lè jókòó sí London kí n máa pariwo pé Nàìjíríà ò ṣiṣẹ́. Ṣé Nàìjíríà ń ṣiṣẹ́ ni? Gbogbo àwọn tó travel lọ Nàìjíríà ní sinmi ọmọ yẹn kan tó lọ lánàá kò tí ì rí luggage ẹgbà. Can you imagine? Because àwọn NACO 101 strike. Ẹ jẹ́ oníbàjẹ́ fún àjàre Azeez orí ìyá mi Rukayat jẹ́ n sáré join ní Starr Radio ọtí ń dúró dè mí. Ẹ jẹ́ kódà ẹ̀yin lẹ máa bọ́ sí títì lẹ máa bà nǹkan jẹ́. Ẹ lọ wo ìlú wo ni mo send sí bàmí lánàá Argentina kan ni no Madrid. Ẹ lọ wo Madrid, ẹ lọ wo èrò tó wà ní títì. Koiki ẹ fẹ́ gbọ́ fẹ́ fi pawó ni o ló ṣe ní kó máa ṣe rally ló ṣe ní kó máa ṣe protest. Wèrè people. Ẹ jẹ́ mo yóò yà kò sẹ́ni tó máa kọ́ yín kẹ́ tó bọ́ sí títì sẹ́. Ẹ bọ́ sí títì ẹ bà nǹkan jẹ́ rẹ́rẹ́ máa rún wòtòwòtò. Ẹ má bọ́ sí títì. Ẹ máa dúró de Bàbá Akíntóyè, ẹ máa dúró de Ìgbòho, ẹ máa dúró de Koiki. Ẹ má bọ́ sí títì kẹ là nǹkan mọ́ àwọn politician yín lórí. Kẹ́ni ẹ fẹ́ lọ dìbò. Bí èmi nìyá máa jẹ, bí ẹ̀yin nìyá máa jẹ, òun lájọ wà lẹ́nu ẹ̀. Ẹ má bọ́ sí títì kẹ là nǹkan mọ́ àwọn politician yín lórí. Kẹ́ni ẹ fẹ́ lọ dìbò. Bí èmi nìyá máa jẹ, bí ẹ̀yin nìyá máa jẹ, òun lájọ wà lẹ́nu ẹ̀.
Very tight political candidates to focus on ways they intend to attend to the challenges facing the country rather than resorting to utterances and actions that border on the method of possibly causing badly harms on other people. Well, what do you think about all that? What are going to be coming your way? So coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki who are joining. And let me go straight to him and let me say massive good morning to you, Yomi.
A very good morning to you, and I hope you can hear me back in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Loud and clear, loud and clear. How was the nice cold weekend?
Well, it's been a very bleak one, especially after 2 decades here in UK. There's no way you can manage the weather. That means you have to keep warm, keep the house warm, especially we tell the elderly ones is very, very important so that, a lot of us, maybe it's not some of us yet, but arthritis is one of the biggest, issues that affect everyone, especially, the Black community as, we came all the way from the very beautiful terrain. The weather is beautiful, but the other side of the globe has a lot of issues, whether in South Africa, in Kenya, in Mozambique. So we thought by escaping the sun, we didn't realize that we were actually coming to face the weather. As I was dropping the children, to the nearby where, they get picked up and taken to the school this morning, and I was coming back home and I could see the grass all completely frozen. And I kept saying to myself, how do we grow crops in this country? Because back home, we don't have such a weather, but we have the Fulani terrorists, we have, the monopoly that is not making growth of food in Benue State. Benue State is meant to be the food basket of Nigeria. But there's quite a lot to discuss this morning as well as usual. I say good morning. We're also broadcasting on the sister broadcast on the other side here. So that means it's a very busy one this morning. It is the 23rd. So we had the full moon. I don't know whether you follow the astrology. I do. It was the full moon on the 21st, just before 9 p.m. here in UK, and that means it's the lunar year. Is a new calendar month for the Chinese that doesn't believe in the Gregorian calendar as we do. But again, Happy New Year to everyone once again, and it is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and I will slightly come back again to you now in the studio.
Yes, to any one of you celebrating the lunar year, especially the Chinese celebrating the New Year, we celebrate each and every salute you. We wish you all the best that the year 2023, the year of the rabbit. Okay, I don't know what the rabbit is, whether you have to be giving birth to lots of things or something. I don't know. But that's one of the things the rabbits do, you know. But whatever it is, we are grateful that this morning you are with us. You are alive, you are well and kicking. And let's go straight to one of the stories making the round. I mean, this morning you are trying to embark on your journey to the UK or any part of the world, especially coming from Nigeria, you must understand that you are in trouble. Aviation workers strike ground flight at Lagos Airport. Young.
Yes, and we're going to come back to that, but just a very, as we lost one of the comrades yesterday in Lagos, and she requested to be buried the same day, even though the burial took place late night yesterday. On behalf of the Starr Radio UK, we are saying to one of the Yoruba comrade, a very hardworking woman that died yesterday in Lagos, and she has been buried according to the Islamic rite, by the family. May her soul rest in peace. She was still part of those attending meetings up to late night Saturday/Sunday when she was engaging, the conversation around the Yoruba nation struggle. So a very good morning again. And, I'm sure a lot of people yesterday, were waking up to this very sad news. Madam Abiodun Yelufe, as is known, the last communication with myself and her was on the January the 3rd, January the 15th, but unfortunately, she gave up yesterday and she's been buried. Abiodun Tawakali Taiwo passed away yesterday morning, the 22nd of January 2022. So on behalf of Starr Radio UK, we say, may her soul rest in perfect peace.
Yes, may her soul rest in perfect peace, Madam Abiodun. And I say it all the time that when you are fighting for a cause, maybe you will not be there to enjoy the fruit of it. However, there are people, because you are standing for a cause, you believe in it. Maybe your children's children, or something. One of them will come to enjoy that as well. So may us all rest in perfect peace, and may the struggle still continue. All right then, let's go to your main point.
Yes, it seems all is not going well in Lagos. That is the video background that is coming from the Lagos Muritala International Airport. And as you can see, if you have traveled as at yesterday, which I have a family friend that have arrived in Nigeria, but up to now, the luggage has not been picked up. And the reason for that is the luggage handler are currently on strike at the Lagos Muritala Mohammed Airport. And this is now creating a lot of uncertainty as more passengers arrive. Is also creating a lot of stress, in the system because for every flight that wants to leave cannot travel, and the one that is arriving is also having a lot of backlog. So aviation worker strikes and every flight is now grounded in Lagos. We should also be expecting the President Muhammadu Buhari to be in Lagos, I believe today, to commission quite a lot of projects. So maybe it's just part of those targets that since the President is coming, they might take advantage of that. International flight at the Muritala Mohammed International Airport this morning have now been grounded as workers of the Nigerian Aviation Handling Company embark on a strike. According to NACO, the strike is due to salary increment. Affected passengers and aviation expert Alex Noble said NACO staff in the early hours of Monday walked out of the international airport saying they were on strike and would not handle any passenger. Even Qatar flight I am traveling with this morning landed and has returned to Doha, and there is no one to handle them. So it seems that, imagine a flight came in and have to go back without any passenger. He said passengers are now frustrated as they have been kept outside to avoid a crisis, and no information, announcement, or emails were sent to the passenger. NACO actually handles check-in, boarding, and ramping service for several international airlines like the Air France, KLM, Qatar, Ethiopian Airlines, Delta Airlines, Virgin Atlantic, and Turkish. Traveler says if the situation is not addressed, more flights will be grounded. Starr Radio UK, what a first day of the week to start as the the strike continue now in Lagos State. I'll come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Wow. So if you are embarking on any journey, please be forewarned. Being forewarned is being forearmed. But it is Starr Radio UK. Update from Nigeria, Mr. Olayomi Koiki Hrh. I'm not planning to do, and I'm actually here in the South East and we're bringing everything that you need to know. As I say all the time, it's making the headline. Why not? We're going to touch on that. Now, Chatham House, pilgrimage. Nigerian politicians seek relevance in foreign land. And it's quite interesting because if you look at the fact that they have to come to Chatham House to come and declare whatever they are taught how to impose the people or the president who are supposed to vote or make the decisions are the Nigerians who are in Nigeria. Unless, of course, you're telling me that you have a system where people outside the country can still vote. Do you?
Well, not yet, and I don't see that coming anytime soon. A lot of Nigerians, especially maybe the fourth generation born here, will probably, be asking the question, why Chatham House? What is the importance of Chatham House that, all the presidential aspirants have to, come down and speak there, and likewise the INEC chairman. The INEC chairman spoke last week, Tuesday. The last person to speak there on Monday was Kwankwaso. We saw Tinubu there some few weeks ago. Atiku has been there. Peter Obi has been there. So the article says the struggle of Nigeria presidential candidate to visit the Chatham House in London, where they have been speaking about their missions and vision. In 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari, Major General retired, was the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, went to sell his candidacy at the Royal Institute of International Affairs, which is known as Chatham House. So it's actually called the Royal Institute of International Affairs. I'm not sure whether we have such in Ghana or Kenya where we can bring these Tories to come and speak to us, or the Labour Party or the American. Imagine inviting Joe Biden to come and speak in Nigeria before the election in America. So, but Buhari, who deliver an address titled "Prospect for Democratic Consolidation in Africa-Nigeria Transition," initiate the audience of his plans for Nigeria, and we have now seen the plan of Buhari after 8 years, because he has actually collapsed the economy as of today. Since Buhari came in, the economy did not even travel from 1%. It was just below that 1%. And it seems now that as the 8 years is winding down, more people wants to come back. We now have the third force, which is the Labour Party that normally wasn't there before. The former military head of state was accused by the opposition People's Democratic Party for bribing his way to speak in the UK think tank centre, and the APC noted that the Chatham House would never compromise its prestige and integrity and allow itself to be induced financially. We do know that Chatham House get a lot of support from different bodies, so we are not too sure, because we don't have the evidence, whether there's kind of an inducement, by any of these political party to allow them to come and speak right there. But in 2018, the then presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, that is also contesting, also visited London Center to convince the international community on why he should succeed the incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari. However, in 2018 was not Atiku's first time at the policy. The former vice president was there during the frosty relationship between the former president Olusegun Obasanjo himself in 2007. That sought the platform of the Chatham House to advance. So it seems Chatham House, is there as an institution that helps the African politics in a way that, when you speak there, you probably gain a bit of momentum or that. But according to the information, Chatham House describes itself as the world-leading policy institution with a mission to help government and society build a sustainable, secure, prosperous, and a just world. I'm not sure any of such happened in the 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Interestingly, they come out here for all their approval, coming to Chatham House, going to all the events, just to get approval from them. But when elections going to happen, like now, I heard Buhari, I think the other time, making a statement that they will not tolerate any foreign involvement or critiquing of the election that is going to take place. So you come to them for the approval. And when they are saying that, okay, now let's scrutinize what you want to do, you say, sure. I don't know how you think. But, well, listeners, wherever you are listening to us from, it is Starr Radio UK, it is out from Nigeria. Well, let's say good morning, everyone. And I wish you all a blessed week ahead. Much love and respect for everyone. 100%. Now, in continuation, Buhari will be in Imota here in Ikorodu today, and also going to Dangote Refinery in Epe. Okay, so he's giving you all the updates for that. But in your background, you can see Olayomi Koiki Hrh's background here. You can see the rail track. Well, apparently, there have been a derailment of some trains. Whether that was a deliberate one from another group of people who want to abduct people or what, we're not very sure. But tell me, what exactly took place?
Well, passengers were stranded at Warri Itakpe train that derails in Kogi Forest. And, these are the footage that came out yesterday. I mean, we do know that there's sabotage in a lot of things around the world. Nigeria is not also, out of it. We've seen last year March where, Nigerians were kidnapped. We lost Dr. Chinelo. We lost a couple of Nigerians, and millions of naira were paid, to the Fulani terrorists that were actually hijacking the train last year March. At the beginning of this year alone, I mean, this is now the second train attack in Nigeria, and on that particular track, that we know that in the beginning of January, some Nigerians were kidnapped. Some have been rescued. We are not too sure whether ransom were paid, but a train that was plying the Warri Itakpe route has reportedly derailed, forcing many passengers to be stranded. It is said to be the same train where passengers were abducted at a station in IGBOHO in Edo State, and it was gathered that the incident happened inside the Kogi Forest. Several passengers were said to have abandoned the train of being fear of kidnapped, which will lead to a lot of other issues. It was also gathered that the train left Warri early at around morning, but it actually derailed around 12 p.m. inside the forest between Ajaokuta and Itakpe. The Delta and Kogi State Police Command could not immediately confirm the incident, but however, the manager of the Warri Itakpe road told correspondent who was just on his way to the scene and will give details. But we can now confirm that that same situation now, that line have now been suspended as we speak right now. The question then is, what is the safety of a lot of Nigerians, when you travel? I mean, we do travel here on a lot of trains, which I do use, especially on my way to the studio on a Wednesday. And the last thing you want to get on a train only for you to know that the train might be derailed. But the National Rail Corporation have suspended every operation, at the Warri Itakpe train station, as the derails will have to be looked into. The Nigerian Railway Corporation has suspended the Warri Itakpe rail services after the train derailed at kilometer about 30 at Ajaokuta Itakpe section of the track. According to the Nigerian Voice, recall that about 300 passengers were stranded inside the Kogi Forest due to the incident without any backup of either the police or the emergency. According to the coordinator of the Warri Itakpe train services, Sami, who confirmed the incident, says security personnel were immediately alerted and drafted to the scene. But from the video, which, the audio, even though the audio is not coming out, a lot of them were concerned because of the insecurity that we do know is one of the biggest threats facing Nigeria today. Starr Radio UK, I'll come back again to you in the studio.
Well, listeners, it's Olayomi Koiki bringing you what you need to know. But, one question on that. You didn't have, it looks like you didn't answer it, but once I was wondering over it. Now, in the US and some other countries, we have air marshals. They are on the flights where we know that there is a risk of somebody maybe hijacking or kidnapping or whatever it is. But when it comes to the trains, especially the railway lines, where we know definitely with what happened last year with abduction of people. Now, has the Nigerian Security Agency in line with the railways, Nigerian railways, put or implemented what air marshals thing on their trains, on their rails at all. I mean, passengers the assurance that, you know what, I'm getting on this train. I know for sure that if something happens, my life will be preserved or protected some way, somehow. Is there anything on the front?
Well, not to my knowledge, and I believe even if such is there, maybe they might probably don't want the public to know. But if it is something that is there, maybe that would have probably picked up from this derailment, and at least somebody to assure the passengers that we are here in case of any of the killer Fulanis kidnapping, and they're making a lot of problem in Nigeria, as we know. But from what I heard in that video, I'm not too sure, whether this contingency. But we do know that Amechi, the former minister of transportation, they said last year that there's definitely trains will be attacked because measures were not put there for safety. Again, whether these trains are in full operation or they're just second-hand from China and then painted into the green, white, green, and then put on the track and then eventually derailed. We do know that there was a particular footage that came out last year as well that I think the crude oil or the diesel that they were using actually run out, and they had to just wait to get extra diesel before the train could go off and on again. But yes, you're quite right. We do know that in America, after the 9/11, there were a lot of security upgrade. The air marshals are always traveling, even though you might not know, but they do travel along the the American aircraft that is traveling out of America and back into America. But maybe the government is looking into that. But the question is, for how long are we going to be worried and scared as Nigerians if we cannot go on the road, we cannot go on the track? We do know that last year we saw the Fulani terrorists, straight into the airport, I believe in Kaduna. So the question on so many Nigerians is, what is the safest transportation mode of transport today, since any of these situations continue? We'll look into whether the government will be saying anything much. But as this government is winding down in less than 30-something days, the question then boils in, what next for Nigerians and Nigeria as a whole?
Well, listeners, you are in Nigeria today. What do you think is happening there? Are you safe when you're traveling? Do you feel very rest assured that, hey, I can get to my destination in peace? I doubt, but I know that maybe you're on the ground. You can tell us more. Post your comments and I'll promise you what you're sure. We're going to be radiating that for you as well. It's Olayomi Koiki Hrh. I'm not planning studios of Africa in the South Africa. We're bringing you updates from Nigeria. Let me come to you for the rest of the other story. Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you so much. Let's come back. More Nigerians as the petrol may hit 800 naira per litre on subsidy removal. The reason why the petrol, even though the last count from the email that was sent to me at the petrol pump somewhere in Lagos State stated there 300 naira per litre, even though it's still being subsidized, but we are still getting, that the subsidy might be removed by the government, and that would definitely make the litre of petrol in Nigeria to go to about 800 naira. Again, for those that probably want to know the exchange rate of that, as of today, £1 gives you 920 naira. So if the petrol goes to about 800 naira, then that means about almost 80p or thereabout. Though it's still expensive here in UK, but let's remember that an average Nigeria will need that 2,000 naira, which is about 2 of that, to be able to eat, according to the United Nations, as Nigeria remains the capital poverty of the world. So many killings still going on in Nigeria. A student committed suicide is one of the headlines. A FUTA student that was accused of fraud left a suicide note. More facts have emerged on the death of the 300-level student of the Federal University of Technology, Akure, in the southwest, Oluwapelumi Olona, who allegedly committed suicide at his off-campus residence in Adu area of Akure in Ondo State. The industrial design student allegedly hanged himself in his room. What a very sad one for the parent that he left and the friends and colleagues. But the president of the student union of the government of the president of the student union, FUTA, Jesu Femi, while speaking to one of the correspondents yesterday, disclosed that Onona also left a suicide note. He said he left a suicide note and titled it death note. There were some messages in it, but we have not been able to interpret it. The note is now in the police custody. The pressure on Nigerians, especially those that are not in crime, and you can tell that this particular person was not pleased, with the outcome. And these are, the question about the management itself. I mean, how do you manage when accusation is made on somebody so that such an incident does not occur? I'm not sure we do have this kind of system in Nigeria yet. But again, once spinal cord is lost, may Nigeria not happen to us? It's not the first time that we have seen this scenario. There was another case of scenario that we talked about last week, that a 25-year-old was killed, strangled, by the police in Lagos State, 3 policemen. The grandmother died after getting the result of the death of this young boy. The grandmother also passed away over the weekend.
Yeah, pertaining to that, that's why I just jumped in. I asked the question earlier on. Do we have any something like a support for students? Do we have support for students in that people in that frame of mind? Because some are coming from home, some challenges from home, sometimes mental health as well. What challenges that they are facing? Do the universities in Nigeria have anything of the sort to support students?
Well, there's a lot of crisis going on in Nigeria, so the last thing I want to think about is such. From what we are getting, Onona was the financial secretary of his department until his death, so which believes that, could be the reason why he has been, alleged from what we are getting now. He said when school resumed in 2021 to 2026, the treasurer of the department was not around to receive payment for dues. Olona decided to receive the payment from the student. The president requested that he should send 100,000 to him for the department. So it seems that this has got to do within the university, or the management probably don't have the capacity. We do know that maybe the private university will have such, but as I speak to you, most of the public university do not have such capacity to deal with such issues. And it's not the first time we've witnessed such in Nigeria in terms of people being alleged, whether in the offices or universities or secondary school. But the president, the note that he left has now indicated that he was not happy for being accused of crime that he hasn't done, and he eventually, committed suicide.
Well, may he so rest in perfect. It's a very sad one. But listen, if you are listening to us, there is always help. Talk to somebody. At least that will help you. The person will let you see, say, if you cannot get expert, just talk to somebody who will encourage you, like, look, there is light. There is light. From today, now, there is light for the future. All right, then. Tell me, bring us the rest of the story.
Well, terrorists are beheaded at the Imo local government boss after collecting ransom. The adopted sole administrator of Idato non-local government area of Imo State, Chris Oishizu, has been beheaded. The council, who was butchered on Sunday after his adopter allegedly received 6 million naira ransom. The video of his beheading surfaced online. We can show that yesterday, where his killers insisted that there will be no election in the country as well. So you could see that there is quite a lot of things, going on in Nigeria. In Ogun State yesterday, I managed to get a video that was sent to me, where these young Fulanis, because, they were speaking in Hausa, they had to translate what he was saying. There were 5 of them. 4 were able to run away, but he was actually picked up when they actually kidnapped an individual, a farmer in Ogun State, and, ransom of 4 million naira was going to be used. But, the security of the vigilante, went quickly and he was rescued. Very, very young, individual. But the question then is, as all this is going on, will there be election in Nigeria? The spark of the killing going on. Yesterday again, in Niger Delta area, I received a video where a group of people are saying they're going to blow off the whole pipeline because it seems that the resources is not being used to take care of them, and they want the president to come and talk to them. And the governors, and if that doesn't happen, election is not going to hold. As we are doing the countdown, which is about 30-something days left, is the election 33 days. Are we going to see an election, or are we going to see like the United Nations, the European Union, the United Kingdom, and Australia last week says some part of Nigeria election might not hold? And if election doesn't hold in some part of election, would that give us the conclusive result for those that really want an election to go ahead? So there is a lot of things to discuss between now and the next 33 days. There's more pressure in Nigeria. So let's quickly touch on the other headline, come back straight to you as we go into the social media as well on what is trending this morning. Once again, this is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. More Nigerians will be running to make sure that they have the new note and probably allow the old note to be out of their hands. But banks battle the new Naira shortage ahead of deadline. 8 days to the January 31st deadline that was set by the Central Bank of Nigeria to stop the 1,000 Naira and the 500 Naira and the 200 Naira note from being a legal tender. Bank automated teller machine in Lagos and Abuja and other part of the country are still dispensing the old note. I mean, Nigeria is just a country that you expect that even the ATM shouldn't be giving you such the old note, but if they're still dispensing it, probably maybe they're going to extend it. Despite the Apex banks and depositing banks' assurance that Nigerians will begin to receive the new note, ATM across platforms as at Sunday yesterday showed that many ATM belonging to the financial institution were still giving out the old note. Maybe they're giving it out so that you probably not be able to return it back. I'm not too sure why they're giving that. But what we do know is quite a lot happening in Nigeria that sometimes baffles you for you to understand. Let's go straight to the social media. President Muhammadu Buhari is actually trending. Worst president is actually trending. And that could be maybe President Muhammadu Buhari as the worst president. But again, that is just coming as a complete conversation. But Momo, why Americans saying Biden is the worst president in history? So it seems that the worst president, a lot of people are already saying maybe Biden is the worst president. But President Muhammadu Buhari, as we do know, has a lot of engagement in Lagos State between today and tomorrow. And yes, I can confirm from the images, President Muhammadu Buhari has now arrived at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Stadium in Bauchi for the presidential campaign of the All Progressive Congress. So I believe he will probably be traveling from there to Lagos from what I'm looking at. But yes, according to the news coming, he has actually arrived in Bauchi to start with. So maybe later on he will be heading to Lagos, because we do know that president will be in Lagos today to commission the largest deep sea port in Nigeria. The $800 million rail will be built to evacuate containers from the 2.5 million Lekki deep port sea. We do know that all these are very sweet talk. Barrow Port, Inland Port was also the same thing in Niger State when Buhari commissioned it, but today it doesn't seem to be functioning. So we love to commission, but does not mean that it's going to be in full use. So commission is just part of to say money has been spent and it's justified. Let's take a look at other news that is trending at 11:42 time fast spent. More campaign. The Sultan of Sokoto has quickly debunked that he has not endorsed Peter Obi, because he shouldn't be getting involved in politicking, as we do know. So His Eminence Alhaji Abubakar Sadiq, just the Sultan of Sokoto, but the leader of the over 90 million Nigerian Muslims, is highly uncalled for him to smear his person just because he denied endorsing a candidate. He is not a politician. Support your candidate with utmost civility. So quite a lot is going on there. But Ayemojuba, any news regarding Sultan of Sokoto endorsing Peter Obi should be discarded. It is fake news being peddled by the opposition to sow seeds of discord. Peter Obi is still pushing, but likewise as the Biafra sit-at-home continue today. Simon Ekpa, some 3 hours ago, we called the Biafra people. We, the Biafra people, are calling the attention of the world as we are demonstrating our readiness to exit Nigeria this year. This today, 23rd, Biafra land is under lock and key in a civil disobedience. The EU Nigeria observer should take note of this video. This is what awaits anyone. As we also know that the Yorubas continue their engagement even though it seems very quiet at the moment, but we can confirm that anytime soon, things will come up again in terms of the push for the Yoruba self-determination. But over the weekend, a lot of engagement, discussion goes on in different platforms. As we also say, we lost one of the comment yesterday. So the Nigeria we know today, the question is, are we going to see the same Nigeria in 33 days? Some say that Nigeria should not be divided. The unity can be walked around. And some say the Aboriginal have now been packed into a space and they are not allowed to use their space properly. And I'm sure, Mr. Archie, if somebody take your parking space that it belongs to you, I don't know what you're going to do or how you're going to react. But I got a letter from the council last week saying that there's a particular vehicle parked in my area and is actually taking our parking space. So if we don't know it, that means it has to be removed. So the question is, who is taking the parking space of the indigenous people of Nigeria?
That's a big question. Who is taking the parking space? Somebody will come and say, I'm bringing my own truck back there, and then what happens there? But pertaining to the election, let's just quickly have a look at it. Now, if like the EU is saying, and some of the other Western countries are saying that if it happens that they are not able to, some places where because of insecurity issues going on, they are not able to vote or elections are not able to take place because in the Electoral Commission boss did say that they are having problem with logistics, sending the logistics to various places. Will the election be, can it be called? Because somebody can say, let's take an example of the Southeast and the Southwest, that because what is going on, the election will take place at all. If the North and the Middle Belt have the election, would they say that, well, somebody has become the president? Can they do that?
Well, it's going to be a very difficult one to answer, especially knowing fully well that election has always been violent in Nigeria. I mean, we witnessed that firsthand in 2019. Even as much as there's violence, we still end up getting, the result based on, the numbers of, the voters that comes out. But what I do know that this time around, more Nigerians wants to cast a vote, and I believe the reason for that is because they now have, the third force that they want to push into, into the political part of it. I was watching Omoyele Sowore that was actually also, last week when they were trying to sign the what we call the peace code. And Sowore, from what he says, let's see if we can pick on that. Disagree with a lot of them, but let's say a little bit of what Sowore was saying during that event.
Everybody that was in the military in 1993 that are not the election, including you, every one of you. Thank you. Okay, I think
Sowore actually said he's not signing that peace accord because those that should be signing the peace accord are the criminal governors that are using, their political talk to threaten the lives of Nigeria. I'm just looking at, the release last week when we were discussing. It is actually in response to the invitation by the Independent National Electoral Commission of Nigeria. The European Union has decided to deploy an EU election observer mission, EOM, to observe the general elections scheduled for 25th of February and 11th of March, which is the governorship election. High representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs, Security Policy, and the Vice President of the European Commission, Joseph Borrell, has appointed Beryl and Andrew, member of the European Parliament, as the chief observer for the EOM to Nigeria. The EU previously deployed election observation to Nigeria in 2003, 7, 11, 15, 2019. But this time around, they'll probably have to observe the exit or the agitation that is also part of this campaign this time around. So they're not just coming to observe, but probably along the line, because if they're not able to, like you said, have a conducted election in the Southwest and the Southeast, then would that give us a conclusive result? Or are we going to see probably in between that, maybe the intervention of the military coup, or what we can say, an interim government that will take over? Because if there's no conclusive in this result of the election, who then continue to be the president? Since the current one must vacate for the new one to come through. So quite a lot. But Starr Radio UK will be on the ground as well. We'll be discussing all these with our team and correspondent in Nigeria, and we'll be reviewing a lot of that. Probably maybe on Wednesday, we'll be having a proper in-depth. Should there not be a conclusive result, are we going to see a new president, or would that then bring the final part of Nigeria? All these we'll have to wait and see in the next 33 days.
Well, we all have to wait, and we all have to wait and see in the next 3 days. But I hope that we all going to be around. But that is where we bring the updates to a close. But let's go to Yomi for his closing remarks. Yomi.
Well, as I always say, there's a lot for each and every one of us to do while we are still alive. The mother, the grandmother that passed away yesterday, had a lot of plans, as we all do, but the mission ended yesterday, and 6 foot behind, she's now completely gone, but we will remember. So if we are still alive, don't be scared. Let's keep the push going on in whatever we are trying to achieve, and I'm sure we will get there. But you can stay tuned with us on Starr Radio UK as I'm coming off, where Archie takes you through the rest of the segment. But I'll be back again same time tomorrow as we start the new week. I say, may Nigeria not happen to us.
Okay, Yomi, thank you very, very much. Have a lovely day, and then we'll catch up later. All right.
Bye for now.
But listeners, that has been Olayomi Koiki giving updates from Nigeria.
Well, may Nigeria not happen to you. May Nigeria not happen to me. For those that probably do not know, Nigeria happened to a lot of people in different ways, whether through poverty, whether through education. And it took on me suicide. Nigeria to happen because if things are as normal as it is in a proper country, I don't think somebody like that should have committed suicide. There was no reason for that, but because it is Nigeria, what can we say? Nigeria is not a country. But Nigeria is a country, so I should just shut up, sit in UK and stop. But like I said, let me come through a little bit. Maybe we can just let's see. Nigeria is a messed up country, and as I always say to Eyitia Wanile, don't be deceived by people that are telling you that Nigeria is a great country. Nigeria is not a great country, it's a messed up country. And as you can see there, that is the international airport. Kotisi protest, Kotisi riot, and the airport is already grounded. Hey, imagine the protest bawa, the riot bawa, ti abati dipe anigba, kogba. Airport will be shut down in no time. Our shut airport missing. Nigeria missing. The airport is completely grounded just because our workers. So ti rally bawa bere to small airport kile ro ma ṣẹlẹ̀. But a lot of you are waiting for a miracle. Miracle, kini way forward? Gbogbo wa ma ro síta. Ta ma make sure pé life will be comfortable for anybody, including those that wants life to be comfortable for them. But fẹ́ gbọ́ yẹn, ìyẹn lẹ ń fẹ́ gbọ́. Irọ́ lẹ fẹ́, ẹ fẹ́ gba Yoruba nation, but fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ lé lórí. Irọ́ la pa. We would have to do a lot of work. So I'm going to open the phone line briefly because there's no point we shut the broadcast and then come back. So we might just continue with the conversation. And the most important part is let us remember our mother that passed away yesterday, and she has been buried according to the family that believe that they have to go with a wish. She's well known, very well. Some of you probably don't know her. She has done her part by working very well. But life is what it is. We would all come and go, and the journey of life continue. Like I always say, tí church kan bá sọ fún yín pé ayé máa parẹ́, tí mọ́ṣáláṣí kan bá sọ fún yín pé ayé máa parẹ́, tí wòlíì kan bá sọ fún yín páyé máa ayé kankan parẹ́ àwa èèyàn tá wà nú ẹ̀ la máa lọ lẹ́yọ kọ̀ọ̀kan ìgbà tó olúkálukú máa lọ láàmú. So don't let anybody fool you and tell you ayé máa parẹ́ ayé máa parẹ́ no ayé kankan tí parẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká kọ́kọ́ jẹ́ kí the next generation can survive and we continue to pray for the family of the beloved mother. So we will, I think maybe we should just end this and then do a proper section for her so that it doesn't mix with the Star Radio. So let me close this broadcast and then I'll come back in just about a few minutes and then we can run a proper program, for her so that we don't mix it with the Star Radio. So very good morning. We'll be back in just about a few minutes. But for now, let's remember that we are all here for a very limited time. So let us do whatever it needs to be done so that the next generation would also remember us. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń fi àdúrà ran ẹ rántí pé wọ́n ní àwọn ọmọ tó fi sílẹ̀ wọ́n ní grandchildren, but we'll be back in just about a few minutes.
Yoruba nation ní kíákíá. Ojú mà ní tí wà. Ẹ ṣé gan ni gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí a jọ lò 2022 ọjọ́ ògbólógbòó náà. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run torí pé kò ṣe pé àmọ́ ṣe. Ọlọ́run kan mọ̀mọ́ pa wá mọ́ nínú oore àti oore ọ̀fẹ́ ẹ̀ ni. Mo wá kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin alátìlẹ́yìn mi ní 2022. Elédùmarè Ọlọ́run ò ní padà lẹ́yìn yín. Ọlọ́run ò ní padà lẹ́yìn yín. Tọ́lọ́run ò bá padà lẹ́yìn yín, ẹ̀yin náà ò ní padà lẹ́yìn wa. Àwa náà ò ní padà lẹ́yìn àwọn kan. Lágbára Ọlọ́run, lágbára Elédùmarè, ìlọsíwájú, ìgbéga la màmá ní ṣàárẹ̀ tọmọtọmọ. Gbogbo ẹni tó wà ní dùbúlẹ̀ àìsàn, Elédùmarè á bá mi gbé wọn dìde. Gbogbo ẹni tó ń wojú Ọlọ́run fún ọmọ rere, Elédùmarè á bá mi fún wọn lọ́mọ alálùbáríkà. Gbogbo àwọn tó wà ń wojú fún nǹkan míì mèremère tí a mọ̀ tá a lè sọ, Elédùmarè mọ ọkàn oníkálukú á pèsè fún àìní kálukú wa lágbára Ọlọ́run. Èmi Abíọ́dún Táíwò náà, gbogbo ibi tí mo kù díẹ̀ sí, Elédùmarè kó bá mi túnbẹ̀ ṣe, kó bá mi túnbẹ̀ ṣe o, kó bá mi túnbẹ̀ ṣe. Gbogbo ẹni tí mo bá ṣẹ̀ ní 2022 torí àkínrìn kórí ó má mì, Abíọ́dún Táíwò Yèyélúfẹ̀ Ẹ̀jìrẹ́ Òyìnlá ọba ọmọ, mò ń fi àsìkò yìí mo fi ń bẹ̀ yín wípé kẹ̀sì jèbùrẹ́ kẹ̀ ṣàforíjì. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ̀dẹ̀ ṣẹ̀ mí náà ní ọ̀nà kan àbí ọ̀nà kejì, mo ṣàforíjì fún gbogbo yín o. Mo ṣàforíjì fún yín tinútinú. Bí mo ṣe ń sọ ìgbẹ́ ló ṣe máa rí. Gbogbo àwa aggregator Yorùbá nation tí a kì í ṣe alligator lágbára Ọlọ́run àpárá wa délẹ̀ lérí. Gbogbo tí èèyàn bá ṣe ní gbangba, tí èèyàn bá ṣe ní kọ̀rọ̀, gbangba ló wà o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe dáadáa o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká tún ṣe o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe dáadáa o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká tún ṣe o. Gbogbo owó tá a wá ná ní gbangba ni, ní kọ̀rọ̀ ni o, ní 2022. Elédùmarè pèsè fún wa tá a rí ná lágbára Ọlọ́run. Àní tá ànáwó òdì lera wa lórí, àní náwó òdì ní 2023. Ìlọ́po ló máa bọ̀ wá nínú àpò wa. Bàbá ṣe ń pè báyìí ló máa jẹ wá lágbára Ọlọ́run. Ajé àfilé wa ṣe gbogbo. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin bàbá mi ní diaspora, gbogbo àwọn aunties mi, mi ò fẹ́ dárúkọ anybody. Gbogbo yín pátápátá mo kí yín. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń fàdúrà ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ̀ ní jí láàárọ̀ báyìí kẹ́ ẹ má pa Abíọ́dún Táíwò pé ń bo ló wà. Báwo ni nǹkan kan? Ilé àtọ̀nà tí náà ní dàrú. Ọlọ́run dẹ̀ ń ṣe fún o. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá dẹ̀ ń ṣe fún èmi kọ́ o. Torí èmi náà ò tiẹ̀ mọ bí mo ṣe ń ṣe. Ọlọ́run ò jẹ́ ń ṣàárẹ̀, tí ò jẹ́ ń gbóná òdì, tí ò jẹ́ ń rárí fẹsẹ̀ sí. Elédùmarè ṣeun. Ọlọ́run á wá wọlá gbogbo eléyìí náà, á ṣe dáadáa.